Hello and welcome back to Reading in the Dark. My name is Byron and I read sometimes. Today I'm going to do something that makes me nervous. I'm going to do something that I've kind of promised to not do in the past, and that is to make a TBR to be read for February. It's challenging because of having to live up to your own expectations and to promises that you've put out in the world, and also because saying the word February is difficult. So in February I'm going to read a predetermined list of books, and we're going to see how it goes. I am currently still in the middle of trying to get through Night Shift by Stephen King. It is a short story collection. I've been reading it for months now, and I've been spacing it out, and I think I need to find a weekend to just binge through the rest of it. I'm also very slowly reading The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne, which oddly is one of those books that I'm like enjoying, but just can't bring myself to read. So far, it feels like a murder, like a ghost story, and that's up my alley, so like I did get into it while I was reading it, but I just keep not picking it up. So I'm in the middle of that, and I don't think that's going to be done by the end of tomorrow, but I will maybe try to read it tonight if I can. However, whether I do or not, I'm going to start reading the books from this list in February because I picked out too many of them. So I am reading Black authors. This is not the right note. Well, I'm not reading Black authors. I'm going to read books written by Black authors in February for Black History Month. Some of these are new to the channel, and some of them are old. I need some chocolate, though. It is too cold outside. Okay, it is Florida here, where I live, and it's like 30s at night right now, which is unacceptable. My feeling is that is breach of contract. So my feeling is that when it is like lower than 70 degrees here, I shouldn't have to pay any taxes. I have so many books that I received as gifts for my birthday in October and during Christmas that I have not mentioned to you and that are not in my spreadsheet yet. They're sitting to my left, but I'm not going to tell you what they are because we're going to talk about them later. I'm also listening to The Woman in Cabin 10 audiobook, by Ruth Ware, read by Imogen Church. And I like that too, but I haven't been driving as much because David and I keep like driving together to work. So I don't know when that's going to be done. But on the topic of audiobooks, the first thing I'm going to mention that I do want to read in February is an audiobook. It's something that I've had on my radar for a long time, and I've just never gotten around to, and that is Blanche on the Lamb by Barbara Neely, and I don't know why I said her name that. Blanche on the Lamb by Barbara Neely. Blanche White is a plump, feisty, middle-aged African-American housekeeper working for the genteel rich in North Carolina. But when an employer stiffs her and her checks bounce, she goes on the lam, hiding out as a maid for a wealthy family at their summer home. That plan goes awry when there's a murder and Blanche becomes the prime suspect. Not a good time for Blanche. So she's forced to use her savvy, her sharp wit, and her old girl network of domestic workers to discover the truth and save her own skin. Along the way, she lays bare the quirks of Southern society with humor, irony, and a biting commentary that makes her one of the most memorable and original characters ever to appear in mystery fiction. This is book 1 of 4. And the author, Barbara Neely, unfortunately passed away, so there aren't going to be any more of them. But there's an audiobook of it, which is something that I hadn't ever considered. But I like to listen to mysteries in the car. I don't know why. But it's kind of become my thing. It's usually Agatha Christie, but right now it's Ruth Ware. And it's going to be Barbara Neely in February. So that's Blanche on the Lamb, and it's about 8 hours long. So I'm sure I can get through that. The next book I'm going to read is going to be one that... And this sometimes bites me in the butt, so I don't know if I should do this, but I'm probably going to do this. I'm going to space it out. I'm going to read this collection of short stories by Tananarive called Ghost Summer. And I have it on paper here. I ordered this after finishing reading The Between by Tananarive a couple of months ago because it was at least my second novel by her, and I loved it, and I thought I wanted to read more of her work. But when I saw she had a short story collection, I jumped on the chance to buy it. Whether weaving family life and history into dark fiction or writing speculative Afrofuturism, American Book Award winner and Essence best-selling author Tananarive work is both riveting and enlightening. In Ghost Summer Stories, her debut collection of short fiction, takes us to a small Florida town haunted by both literal and figurative ghosts, into future scenarios that seem all too possible, and provides empathetic portraits of those whose lives are touched by otherness. Featuring an award-winning novella and 15 stories, one of which has never been published before, Ghost Summer Stories is sure to both disturb and delight. And it's blurbed by a lot of people. I absolutely loved The Good House by Tananarive last year. And I really, really liked The Between as well. For some reason, though, that novel is not sticking in my memory. I'm getting really close to the camera. For some reason, The Between is not, like, sticking in my memory as well as The Good House, but I really did enjoy it. I remember enjoying it. I think maybe I read it too quickly or something. But yeah, I love her writing, and so this is going to be a good time. This is 332-ish pages. I will probably try to pick up this and read like one story and then read a book or a few chapters of another book and then read another story and go back to the other book to sort of pepper these stories in and maybe to sort of keep things lively, because I have a lot on my list for February and I don't know that I'm not going to get through them all. Let's just be real. But I'm going to do my best, and I think doing that with the short stories might help. So that is Ghost Summer Stories by Tananarive. The next book on my list is one that I think I've mentioned here before, and that is Lone Women by Victor LaValle. I am basically doing my best to read Black authors, I'm reading Black authors, but I'm doing my best to read like dark genre fiction by Black authors, like mostly horror. And I think this list is going to do that. Lone Women by Victor LaValle. Blue skies, empty land, and enough wide open, either way. Blue skies, empty land, and enough wide open space to hide a horrifying secret. A woman with a okay, this is just the blurb before the blurb. Why do they do this? Every blurb, it's not even the right word, every like synopsis, elevator pitch for, it's like there's like a short one at the beginning, and then the real thing starts. Very annoying to me. Adelaide Henry carries an enormous steamer trunk with her wherever she goes. It's locked at all times because when the trunk opens, people around Adelaide start to disappear. The year is 1915, okay, and Adelaide is in trouble. Her secret sin killed her parents, forcing her to flee California in a hellfire rush and make her way to Montana as a homesteader. Dragging the trunk with her at every stop, she will become one of the, quote, lone women, taking advantage of the government's offer of free land for those who can tame it, except that Adelaide isn't alone. And the secret she's tried so desperately to lock away might be the only thing that will help her survive the harsh territory. So I don't know what that means, but it's mysterious sounding and creepy, and looks like I really shaved today, and I did not. Anyway, yeah, so that is Lone Women by Victor LaValle. Mystery in her past and homesteading historical fiction. This sounds great. I'm very excited because I love Victor LaValle. I've read The Changeling, The Ballad of Black Tom, maybe one other, but big fan. When I read The Changeling, I was not ready for horror, and I did not understand what I was reading, but I loved it anyway. I want to reread it now because I remember it, and I know how good it is. So anyway, this is Victor LaValle's, I believe, newest novel. It came out in 2023, and it is 275 pages, so that is awesome. And that is Lone Women by Victor LaValle. The next book on my list I did mention, I think, years ago, and it's Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. P. Djèlí Clark is the author of The Mystery of Tramcar 15, or The Disappearance of Tramcar 15, The Haunting of Tramcar 15, yeah, along with a lot of novellas and short stories set in, like, Egypt. A Dead Djinn in Cairo is one of them. So this is a very, very disturbing sounding horror novel by P. Djèlí Clark called Ring Shout, which was released in 2020. It's a novella. It's about I don't know if it technically is a novella. It's 185 pages. In America, demons wear white hoods. Okay. In 1915, the birth of a nation cast a spell across America, swelling the clan's ranks and drinking deep from the darkest thoughts of white folk. All across the nation they ride, spreading fear and violence among the vulnerable. They plan to bring hell to earth. But even Ku Kluxes can die. Standing in their way is Maurice Boudreau and her fellow resistance fighters, a foul-mouthed sharpshooter and a Harlem hellfighter. Armed with blade, bullet, and bomb, they hunt their hunters and send the clan's demons straight to hell. But something awful's brewing in Macon, and the war on hell is about to heat up. Can Maurice stop the clan before it ends the world? I'm thinking she can. I'm thinking she's gonna do it. And also, this is one of the few books that, like, I scroll down and, like, the first, like, 4 reviews that I see are 5-star reviews. I can't wait to read this. It's gonna be awesome because the clan deserves this kind of retribution in this story. And also, it's very, very short, and apparently it's great. And I've just really, really enjoyed things that he's written in the past. So that is Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. Now, I have a couple of short reads from Rivers Solomon on here. One of them is a short story. It's a Tor.com. Okay, yeah, Tor.com original. It's 25 pages long, and it's called Blood is Another Word for Hunger. Anger is an enemy. A young girl, a slave in the South, is presented with a moment where she can grasp for freedom, for change, for life. She grabs it with both hands, fiercely and intensely, and the spirit world is shaken. And that's it. That's what the book description says. And you know what? It's 25 pages long, so that's all we need to know. It's got a cool cover. Short stories don't get covers very often, but it's from Tor.com, so that's probably why it has one. River Solomon, Model Home, really, really liked it. Sorrowland, fantastic. I have more River Solomon novels in my future, but for this month, I'm going to read that short story and another short story called Saint Juju, or Saint Juju, and that is just something that you read online. It has some mushrooms on the artwork. That's something. It says, a young woman must choose between her secure enclave and the one she loves. I have no idea. I don't know anything more than that. That's all it says. But I discovered that this existed. I was on River Solomon's page. So I'm going to read that as well. It'll be fun to have 2 really short reads from a great author. The next novel that I want to read is one that people talked about a lot when it first came out. This author has a new book out actually now. My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I talked about this novel a lot like years ago when it came out. It is from 2018, so when my channel was brand new, but I never read it, but I did buy it, so I guess that's good. When Korede's dinner is interrupted one night by a distress call from her sister Ayola, she knows what's expected of her. Bleach, rubber gloves, nerves of steel, and a strong stomach. This will be the 3rd boyfriend Ayola's dispatched in, quote, self-defense, and the 3rd mess that her lethal little sibling has left Korede to clear away. She should probably go to the police for the good of the menfolk of Nigeria, but she loves her sister and, as they say, family always comes first. Until, that is, Ayola starts dating the doctor where Korede works as a nurse. Korede's long been in love with him, and isn't prepared to see him wind up with a knife in his back. But to save one would mean sacrificing the other. My Sister, the Serial Killer is a blackly comic novel about how blood is thicker and more difficult to get out of the carpet than water. I didn't realize that it was comedic. That's fun. So everybody's read this book. I feel like people really like it. Rincey gave it 4 stars. Franny gave it 4 stars. Lala gave it 5 stars. That is My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. And it is 228 pages. So that's enough. I've chosen several books this month. And I've chosen ones that are short. Just because I feel like I need the snowball for myself in February, because it's always a bad month for me reading-wise. January is very bad. I'm barely reading this month, just because I'm so exhausted from the holidays, and then I end up just not reading in February. I don't know why. So I chose a bunch of books that should be easy to get through, so that I'll feel like I'm making progress, and that'll help. We'll see. Now, I'm also going to read an amazing book of essays that sort of spring off from The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, called The Fire This Time. And this collection is edited by Jesmyn Ward. I believe Jesmyn Ward has a piece in here as well. An introduction. Yeah. And then there is another piece by Jesmyn Ward in here as well. National Book Award winner Jesmyn Ward takes James Baldwin's 1963 examination of race in America, The Fire Next Time, as a jumping-off point for this groundbreaking collection of essays and poems about race from the most important voices of her generation and our time. In light of recent tragedies and widespread protests across the nation, the Progressive magazine republished one of its most famous pieces, James Baldwin's 1962, quote, Letter to My Nephew, which was later published in his landmark book, The Fire Next Time. Addressing his 15-year-old namesake on the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, Baldwin wrote, quote, You know and I know that the country is celebrating 100 years of freedom 100 years too soon, end quote. Award-winning author Jesmyn Ward knows that Baldwin's words ring as true as ever today. In response, she has gathered short essays, memoir, and a few essential poems to engage the question of race in the United States. and she has turned to some of her generation's most original thinkers and writers to give voice to their concerns. The fire this time is divided into 3 parts that shine a light on the darkest corners of our history, wrestle with our current predicament, and envision a better future. Of the 18 pieces, 10 were written specifically for this volume. In the 50-odd years since Baldwin's essay was published, entire generations have dared everything and made significant progress. But the idea that we are living in the post-civil rights era, that we are a, quote, post-racial society, is an inaccurate and harmful reflection of a truth the country must confront. Baldwin's Fire Next Time is now upon us, and it needs to be talked about. So that is The Fire This Time, edited by Jesmyn Ward, featuring writings by a lot of people. It is 226 pages. I'm reading it on hardcover, which is also great because I like to switch things back and forth while I'm reading between my Kindle and a physical book. So, yeah. Fire Next Time. Fire This Time. The Fire This Time, edited by Jesmyn Ward. So, yeah. I just knocked everything over. So, yeah. So that is the, I don't like it when that is showing. It's fixed and the video's over. So those are the books I'm going to read. That is like 1,274 pages worth of reading in February. And, I've got stuff going on. So let's be honest, I don't think I'm actually going to read all of those books, but I am going to do my best. I still have to finish the books that I'm currently reading, and then try to get to all of these, and I'm going to do my best. It is crazy of me to make a TBR for February, considering that I don't do TBRs very often anyway, and twice in my past I made this video and then my reading died in February, so I'm really kind of like throwing down the gauntlet, as you were. I think I just like have a hard time reading in the new year because I go so hard with the holidays. So those are the books that I'm hoping to read, and I'm excited about really all of them, and I think I can do it. I think I can do it, and I think I'm going to vlog in February to keep myself going. I think that'll inspire me. So I'm going to vlog my reading of all of these books, and if all goes well, you will see a vlog in early March about me reading all of these fabulous books by amazing Black authors in February, and it will be a success, and I will be proud of myself, and you will be proud of myself. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and if you have any thoughts or comments, please write them in the comment box below. It is really the best part of doing a YouTube channel, which is a hobby for me. It's not a business. I don't do this full time, is hearing from people in the comments. So please do write something in the comment box below. It's fun to hear from you. It's fun to write back and talk about what you're reading and what you like. And hopefully you got some good ideas of things to read from me today, things that I maybe have read that you haven't or whatnot. Oh, don't forget to like the video, because that's important, because social media is a monstrous thing that we all live with now. And so that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will be here in the dark reading.